Well, I've been asked to tell you who I am and where I came from. Uh, I grew up in Alabama, uh, part of the time on a small one-mule farm out in the country near Birmingham, Alabama. Uh, didn't plan to go to college. In my senior year in high school, I had some scheming going on between my mother and a teacher and my sister, and somehow through all of that, I wound up going to college. Nobody in my family had ever been to college. And I went to a little liberal arts college, a very good college in Birmingham, Alabama, Samford University. Finished college in 2 years and 8 months, and had 2 majors. And the reason I did it that fast, one is I wanted to get married, and I was in love with my high school sweetheart. We lived together 53 years before she passed away, and the Korean War was going on. And in my senior year in college, I was drafted to go into the Army and go to Korea. And I only liked a few months, and I finally talked them into a deferment. And when I got the deferment to finish college, I joined the Navy, and as soon as I graduated, I went off to the Navy, and I spent 3 years, most of which was in Annapolis, Maryland, running the retail operations for the naval station and the cadets there. And I learned a lot and had a good experience there in Annapolis. And then I went back to school. I went to the University of Alabama to graduate school and got my MBA, again, two majors, economics and marketing, and joined IBM right out of graduate school in 1958. Went to Mobile, Alabama for my training, then to Atlanta, Georgia, and then to branch manager then in Knoxville, Tennessee. So after my tour as branch manager for IBM in Eastern Tennessee, I was moved to New York, to White Plains, living in Connecticut, and took the job as first administrative assistant, then executive assistant to the group executive for the IBM data processing group. The man I worked for was Frank Carey, who later became chairman and CEO of IBM, and ultimately served on my board when I retired and started a new company, Lexmark. Then I was given a couple of jobs, and then became the leader, general manager of this retail store systems unit. But I managed that unit for I guess 3 years, located in Raleigh, and then I was promoted to another job up in the division headquarters, reporting to the division president, who sort of has his staff executive, and I continued then to oversee the management of the retail systems unit and the allied banking unit in that position. And then 2 or 3 years later, I left and took on another job, and then another job, another job. So I was separated from that group for several years. But in my last job in IBM, I was took over responsibility for a division, and all of that reported to me again for a couple more years. And so I got to work with those people directly during that period of time before I retired. A number of other jobs in IBM, running a couple of different divisions, and was promoted to IBM vice president, ran a company outside IBM, went on leave of absence for a while that IBM owned a part interest in, and was a long distance satellite-based telecommunications system company. And we sold that company and got out of that business. And then I decided to retire from IBM at a reasonably early age and take on another opportunity and responsibility, and we worked with a leveraged buyout firm called Clayton, Dublier and Rice, and they bought the IBM typewriter business, which had a printer element in it, and low-end printers, the desktop printers. We bought, and we built that company, Lexmark, and beginning it had 5,000 employees. We took it down to 3,000 and then built it back up. Today I think it's got 14,000 employees in it, and it's been very successful. And did that for 9 years. I overlapped that with some corporate board activities, including a trustee of the Board of Independent Trustees for Fidelity Investments, or Fidelity Mutual Funds. And for the last I was on that board for 13 years, and for the last 5 years I was served as the chairman of that board, and then I retired again. I served on I was either in the management or on the board of Lexmark for almost 20 years, 19 years to be exact. And if you had it all those years up, it would not give me enough to be to be born when I started all those jobs, but there was a lot of overlap in them, and so I've been very, very fortunate. I got a lot of experience along the way in different businesses, different problems. I became sort of a problem solver in IBM. If they had a tough problem with a division or something, I'd often get a call, and I'd go do what I could to get it back on its feet. But the Universal Product Code was a very, very important achievement. I played a role. I was not the key player by any means. People who did the technical work to develop the technology, and the industry committees who basically made it happen. Without the code, without the symbol, there wouldn't be retail systems in the stores like they are today. And it was the foundation of it, and it's all over the world. And when I was working in retail store systems, I traveled a lot. I was in Japan and England and Germany and all kinds of places working with customers on retail systems in those places. So it's been a wonderful experience.